Welcome to Graduate Assistant Orientation. This session will specifically follow all Title IX essentials for you to know in your role as a new graduate assistant here at West Liberty. My name is Kate Billings and I'm the Title IX coordinator here on campus. During today's session, we'll give you a really brief overview of Title IX, essentials for you to know as a general student, and just some tips and tricks for you as a graduate student, since you will be in contact with many of our undergraduates and other entities on campus in which you may be affected and need to know about our Title IX regulations. Here at West Liberty, we have a commitment to our community. We want to maintain a learning and working environment free from any type of discrimination or coercion or intimidation. We make sure we do this through a variety of different ways. We have information up on our web page, policies, handbooks. In our syllabuses, we include certain verbiage on harassment, and just in our daily conduct towards each other here on campus. If you were an undergraduate here or if you are new to the West Lib community, I think you will really see how much of a family we are up here on the hilltop, and that's done through mutual respect here on campus. So to review, Title IX overview. No person in the United States on the basis of sex shall be excluded from participation in or be denied the benefits of any type of educational program or activity receiving federal funding. So that means in the classroom, on the basketball court, in your labs, or down in the stream when students are getting samples. There should be no discrimination based on sex, sexual identity, gender expression. And Title IX is here to protect that. As a university, we have a legal obligation to investigate any issues that we are made aware of, stop any type of harassment, put in interim remedies, and maybe put in ones that are there to sustain for the future, and then prevent any other type of harassment from occurring. During our investigation, we want to make sure that we are being thorough, reliable, and impartial throughout our process. We make sure to give both entities, who we call the reporting party and responding party, the same resources and support here on campus through our counselors, through advisors, to make sure that both parties are receiving an equitable and fair process. We also want to make sure that our process is prompt and effective. We try to keep everything within 60 to 90 days, depending on what information we have, how much of investigation is needed, and the amount of people we need to speak to. But normally through our Title IX process, it will take 60 to 90 days. And then in terms of remedies, we want to make sure we're ending that type of discrimination and prevent reoccurrence. So when we are assessing a situation, a violation may end up in an educational sanction, supportive measures where they talk to a counselor, or possibly removal from the residence halls or expulsion as a student. So it runs the gamut. It depends on the severity of the potential violation here on campus. In terms of the scope of Title IX, it protects all students, undergraduate and graduate, full-time, part-time, as long as they are enrolled as a student here on campus or online, virtually. It is also applicable. It also protects our faculty and staff. So claims can be made student on student, or a student can make a claim against a possible harassment from a faculty member, or a staff member can make a claim against a student for harassment. So it goes both ways. All those entities are able to get protection. And it doesn't always have to be a student, faculty, or staff member here. It may be an entity off campus that is engaging in sexual harassment against one of our students, and that student here on campus can come and talk to us about supportive services and different ways that we can work with them to get them safe on campus. In terms of the jurisdiction, if any type of harassment was to happen on our campus property or at university events, we oversee those areas, and that's where we're able to look. If something was to happen off campus, it doesn't necessarily fall under our jurisdiction, but students can still report that conduct to us, and we can provide supportive services under Title IX and can provide further information regarding the complaint and if it can be filed or not. And if not, it still may be addressed through our student code of conduct and our judicial procedures here on campus. So what is covered under Title IX? In this slide, we'll go through different examples of what could potentially be a policy violation under Title IX. So the first is going to be any type of sexual misconduct, intimate partner violence, domestic violence, anything that's within that spectrum, verbal, physical would all count. Any type of stalking, whether that be in person or online, stuff like Snapchat, text messages, would all fall underneath that category too. Of course, any type of sexual assault offenses, so non-consensual sexual intercourse, non-consensual sexual contact, essentially exceeding those boundaries of consent. Just because someone said yes to sex, last weekend doesn't mean they're necessarily giving you permission today to have sex with them. So making sure that you're proactively getting consent in every type of sexual act that you are doing with your partner. Any type of sexual exploitation is also covered under Title IX, so voyeurism, invasion of sexual privacy. We'll see this a lot with, once again, Snapchat, videos that people will take and maybe share with their friends without permission of their partner. So just to be very aware of that. And then, of course, any type of fondling, retaliatory harassment, general sexual harassment based on gender identity, gender expression that may come across in the classroom or maybe in a living environment in a residence hall. Any of the unwelcome conduct needs to hit a certain level. Is it pervasive? Is it severe? Is it objectively offensive? And our office is able to determine that when we talk to the student, faculty, or staff member about the conduct that they've been experiencing here on campus. These are not all encompassing. These are just some examples of what we see here on campus. But if you look at our policy 32, it goes through the definition of every single type of conduct that is covered under Title IX. Okay, so as a student here on campus, there are different ways to make reports. The first one is a confidential report. Those reports go to 3 different entities here on campus, and the university does not need to know about it. My office and any Title IX person in position would not reach out to a student, faculty, or staff member if they were to talk to any of these 3 entities. The first one is Campus Health Services, Nurse Christy Bennington, who's over in Shaw Hall. The second is any of our campus counselors. So the main one would be Lisa Witzberger in the University Union second floor, but any of the counselors that are in the psychology department, the behavioral counseling center over in Campbell, those would all qualify also. And then finally, campus ministry and our interfaith chapel. When we have a new pastor here on campus, we will add them to the list as one of the potential confidential reporters that you could go to or a friend could go to talk about what they've experienced and potential options without the stress of the university reaching out. The other types of reports are non-confidential reports. So any type of information that an administrative staff or faculty member may get, they're required to take action and report it. And then if any general student was to come to our office and say, I heard XYZ, if they were to come forward and do that, that's not a non-confidential report, and our office is required to reach out to those students and do our due diligence to provide them resources and support and knowledge of the university process. So we just talked about non-confidential reports, and the people who are responsible employees here on campus are those that have to bring forward any complaints that they hear of a potential violation under Title IX. Within our policy 32, we explicitly list who those people are. So it'd be the Title IX coordinator, university police, senior administrators, RAs, faculty, team coaches, and athletic training staff. you'll notice that there are not graduate assistants listed in this. So under our policy, you are not required to let our office know, but we highly encourage any member of our campus community who's either witnessed, been subject to, or is made aware of any of the type of conduct that would be prohibited, that they come forward and talk to our office about that so we can reach out to those involved and give them support. So even though you may not be listed as a responsible employee, we highly encourage you guys as leaders in the classroom, on the on your sports fields, in the residence halls, wherever you may be, that you still take on that role of a responsible employee here on campus. Another great thing for you guys to know as graduate assistants is there is off-campus support for our students, faculty, and staff. Our offices may not be the best support for them. Maybe they want to look off campus to talk to someone. So it's great to know these entities are here in our community that you can direct people to, or that you and your friends can use as a resource. The first is the Wheeling YWCA. We have a great relationship with them. You'll see them up here on campus a lot presenting. They're right down in downtown Wheeling, so they're very accessible. Same thing with the Ohio Valley Sexual Assault Help Center. They have a lot of classes and meetings that are available free for students, and the 24-hour hotline that they can take advantage of. They're also located in downtown, so fairly close. We are actually working with them to have an advocate up here on campus once or twice a week just to have open office hours for any students to come by and speak with them. And then we also have Tri-County Help in St. Clairsville, Ohio, and then the Care Center in Washington, PA. So we try and have a nice wide range within the 20-25 mile radius of campus. But our office is also very willing to look up those supportive services in someone's hometown. Maybe they're not sure where to go or where to look, but they want to go somewhere closer to home, which is in Harrisburg, PA, and we'd be glad to work with students to get to know that. But these are all great to know, as you may need to reference them to give them to students that you talk to. So as stated, our office can provide some more supportive measures for students who have experienced some type of sexual assault, sexual discrimination, sexual harassment, whether they just decide to file a formal complaint or not. So this is also great for you to know as a leader here on campus. So a student may experience sexual harassment or sexual misconduct, and we can do any of these things listed here and potentially others without even going through our formal complaint process. So it may mean changing their housing placement, setting them up with counseling services here on campus or off campus, maybe changing a class schedule, providing escort services, no contact directives, limits in certain curricular activities. So all of them will depend on the circumstances of a situation, but we really want to stress to students that no matter what, whether you choose to utilize the university process in Title IX and file a formal complaint, that we can still provide those supportive measures to you as a student. So now, after learning that basis of Title IX and the supportive services that we can give, we really remind you as graduate assistants to be leaders here on campus. Be aware of what social settings you're putting yourself in, both academically and socially. How are you integrating yourself and talking with the graduate students, both inside and outside of the classroom? So be very aware of that. We also want to encourage you to disclose any type of relationship. If you were to get into a relationship with someone within your department, so say you're dating another graduate assistant or you are looking to date an undergraduate student, we highly discourage it to be within the department. But if there is something where you choose to get into a relationship, we highly encourage you to disclose that to your supervisor so that they can make the necessary accommodations. If there was a graduate assistant who is an RA in Topper Village and they oversee the apartments, and their significant other lives 2 doors down. But obviously we know like there should not be any drugs, or maybe alcohol depending on how old the student is. It would be good for them to disclose to their supervisor in housing that they're now dating someone on their floor, so that maybe there can be some additional accommodations made, or maybe the RA from Topper Village does the health and safety, so there is no bias in that. So the same thing is applicable to the classroom and stuff like that. So just be very aware of the situation you're putting yourself in. And if you're unsure, talk to Sarah Sweeney, or myself, and we'd be glad to talk you through any type of disclosure with your relationships moving forward. So the biggest impact you guys can make on West Liberty's campus is being that active bystander, stepping in where you see fit, using your leadership skills to empower those around you to intervene in situations that we know are high risk, or something just does not feel right. It's our place to step in, especially if there's drugs or alcohol involved. How can you step in to help all the parties involved? This will really help shift the culture in general, not just here on this campus, but across the nation. If we're all talking about it more, having this shift in social norms, the standard and the behaviors and the attitudes on campus are going to get so much better, here at West Lib. It also makes sure that people understand that their community, their supportive services here on campus, there's people looking out for them, and there's good people. We're not just going to turn a blind eye when we're at a party or up at the bar of someone acting inappropriately. And then finally, it obviously keeps our community safe. Faculty and staff can't be everywhere. We're not here to be police and oversee everyone's seconds of conduct, but you guys as leaders should know what's right and wrong, and to be those active bystanders in situations can be very powerful, especially on a campus of this size like at West Liberty. So we really want to encourage you guys from inaction to action. Notice the event that's going on in front of you, interpret it as a problem, feel responsible to act, possess the skills to act, and intervene safely. We don't want you to put yourself in a situation where you feel unsafe, but there are definitely some times where maybe just speaking up or helping out a friend can really diffuse a situation and make it better. So we highly encourage you to see sexual assault, sexual misconduct, sexual harassment as a problem, and to help intervene here on campus. So let's go over some intervention strategies that may be super beneficial to you in terms of stepping in and being that active bystander. So using I statements, focusing on your feelings or how you see it versus the other person, really will hopefully help them respond a little bit better. Humor is always a good one. Obviously, we don't want to have it be like over exaggerated or to the point where it makes it seem unimportant, but sometimes humor in a situation will help diffuse the tension and help remove someone from it. Using an example of like bring it home and talking about how, like, for example, I hope no one ever talks about you like that, um, and stuff like that. That really does help hit home a little bit more. Talking about someone's like, would you talk about your sister that way? Or I would step up if someone talked to my sister like that, etc. Um, so making it more personal. And the same with the last one. We're friends, right? So you're reframing the intervention, um, so that they're thinking about it in a different way. Uh, this could be like super important in the locker room environment. In the example here, we talk and it says, "Hey Roger, as your friend, I've got to tell you the centerfold's hanging in your locker, killing your rep with the ladies. Do yourself a favor and take them down." Um, talking about it that way, or even bringing it back to, you know, having those centerfolds hanging in your locker. Is that really our championship mindset? Is that bringing us to our goal at the end of the season to get the MEC championship? So reframing things like that, to sort of help intervene and change the culture are super important. So to start to wrap up, our team is more than just myself. I am the Title IX coordinator. My office is located in S30 and 31 up in the student union above Bare Necessities. You can always come and talk to me about maybe something you're hearing or some clarification. We'd be glad to talk with you about Title IX and its role here on campus. But also know there are a couple other people that you can go and talk to. We have 3 investigators here on campus that are also trained. Chris McPherson, who is the director of the LSDC over in Main Hall, is where his office is. Rhonda McCullough, who is part of the behavioral clinic over in Campbell Hall. She is one of our investigators, and then Dr. Vishaka Maskey from the College of Business is also an investigator. We find that that's awesome that we have faculty, staff, all involved in our process, and gives us options to make sure that we're unbiased in our proceedings and everything. Other administrators that we partner with a lot are Diana Harto with our HR department, and then Marcella Snyder, who's our judicial coordinator. So if something doesn't qualify as Title IX, it most likely then would fall under our student code of conduct and our judicial proceedings. If it has to do with faculty and staff, we partner with Diana Harto to make sure that everything goes smoothly on that end. So this is a small part of our team. We have a bunch of others that actually help with our hearing boards and other things like that, and we partner a lot with campus police in our processes to make sure that we're trained and up to date on everything Title IX related. But so just know that there's more than just me who you can reach out to or ask for partnerships with here on campus as part of our team. If you would like further information regarding Title IX, please check out our Policy 32 on our university website. It has full details and definitions of everything that we covered today, along with a bunch of other information. On there, we also have our Title IX proceedings. So if you were interested in learning about more about our grievance processes and how they work, those are also available online. If in the future you want to make a Title IX report, but you don't feel comfortable coming to our office, please feel free to utilize the complaint form online, and we will be able to reach out to you from there. And then if you have any interest in our student handbook, the student code of conduct is there, so you can see judicially what the university can also cover. I want to thank you guys for taking time today to meet with us, review Title IX and your role as a graduate assistant and how important you are as a leader here on campus. Know that you have faculty, staff, and other students here to support you, and Title IX is here if you need any clarification or want additional educational opportunities for you within your program. Feel free to reach out at any time over the academic year or throughout the summer. So thank you again and have a great day.